Hello, so in this video I'll be explaining how to use the quotient rule to find the derivative of functions. So, quotient rule. Quotient rule. So let's write an example. Just so I can further explain. Okay. So the first question that would typically rise is, how do you know when to use the quotient rule? So how do you know when? So anytime you have two things being divided, that is essentially an indicator that you have to use the quotient rule. So in this case, the function is 5x over 3x minus 2. As you can see, two things are being divided, so we have to use the quotient rule. So the quotient rule states, let's make a box for the quotient rule. The quotient rule states g of x times f prime of x minus f of x times g prime of x all over g of x squared. And that right there is the quotient rule. That's the special rule that you use. Alright, so to start off, so we want to find the derivative of this function. We see that two things are being divided, So we know we have to use the quotient rule. So what I would normally start off by doing is labeling each part of the quotient, labeling the numerator and labeling the denominator. So the numerator would be labeled as, let me finish writing this, as f of x, and the denominator will be labeled as g of x. So, as you can see, the quotient rule says when you're taking the quotient, when you're taking the derivative of a quotient, or two things being divided over each other, you leave the denominator and times it by the derivative of the numerator. So leave the denominator, times it by the derivative of the numerator. So that's essentially what I'm going to do here. So the denominator is, or g of x is 3x minus 2 times it by the derivative of the numerator. The derivative of 5x is 5 minus, leave the numerator, f of x is the numerator, 5 of x times by the derivative of the denominator. The denominator is 3x minus 2. The derivative of 3x minus 2 is 3. And this is all over what? G of x squared. G of x is 3x minus 2. So that will be all over 3x minus 2 squared. So now you can go on by just distributing, simplifying. So why not? Let's do that. Alright, so 3x times 5 is 15x. negative 2 times 5 is 10 or minus 10. Minus 5 times 3, or 5x times 3, sorry, which is 15x. All over, what is that all over? 3, again 3x minus 2 squared. So, we can further simplify. As you see here, we have a 15x. We have a negative 15x. Pew, pew. Goes down to the next page. That two expressions will cancel out, leaving you with a negative 10 over 3x minus 2 squared. You leave the denominator. This is essentially, or this is, not even essentially, this is the answer. This is the answer. So the derivative of 5x over 3x minus 2 is negative 10 over 3x minus 2 squared.